Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. In this video, I'm going to talk about XRP, what it's doing, where it's going, and what you should be prepared for. Folks, XRP is weeks, not months, away from its bull run structure. Let me explain why I believe this to be the case. So this is the macro structure of the XRP chart. This is a repetitive structure. So the essence of this structure, it includes a bull run, it includes a decline that comes after the bull run, and then a sideways range-bound time. These three parts take place over and over again on the chart. We see it down here in this smaller iteration of it, a bull run, a decline, and then this sideways range-bound part. We see it over here, where we have a bull run, a decline, and we are working through this sideways range-bound time. Now I take this sideways range-bound time and I break it up into three separate fractals. Fractal 1, price moves up and then it moves back down in part A, and then in part B it kind of goes flat. We see that over here with this fractal 1, price moved up, moved back down, and then it went flat. In fractal 2, it has three waves, wave A, wave B, and wave C. We see that over here, wave A, wave B, and wave C. Notice how this wave C is much higher than this wave C. Well, that is due to the timing, height, and depth being unique every single time a fractal repeats. So the basic idea of the fractal repeats, the wave in this case, but the timing, the height, and the depth is going to be different every single time, so it allows for some originality even though the basic idea is being carried out. In fractal 3, the basic idea is price moves up to a peak, which is part A, it then crashes, which is part B, and then it recovers, does a correction right here before entering into the bull run. Now, this structure plays out uniquely every single time. If we were to go back over here and examine this fractal 3, it would look different from this one. Let's do that. So here we are zoomed in on this 2017 fractal 3, and as we can see, it looks different. However, it does the same basic idea. Price moves up to a peak, which is part A, it then crashes, which is part B, and then it does a recovery, and then it does this correction before entering into the bull run. So this does what it should do, however, the appearance looks unique. Now, today's fractal 3 has an echo of this structure in it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's jump back to where we were. So here is today's fractal 3. It has been following this one the closest, even though it echoes this one. So in this one, there is this first wave or bounce. We see that over here. It then moves into this wave right here or bounce, which is this right here. And we have been waiting for, many who follow this channel for a long time, for this to materialize. I'm calling this the great fake out, where price moves up aggressively, turns around, comes crashing back down, thus a fake out. Now, it is my belief that on today's chart, we are no longer going to do this great fake out. It instead is following this part of the chart that is from the crash to this small recovery. It is currently doing this part right here. So we are very close to the bull run. Now, why did it skip this? That is something that is worth talking about. Well, first off, we noted the difference between this fractal 3 and this fractal 3. They look completely different. In fact, if we go back to this fractal 3 over here, let's look at it real quick. You can see that price moves up to a peak, which is part A. It then comes crashing down, or this one is kind of a slow decline to part B. It then does a recovery and does that correction before going into the bull run. So again, this one also looks unique. So notice the trend here. Every single fractal 3 looks unique, but every single fractal 3 does the same set of repetitive functions. It moves up to part A, which is the peak. It comes crashing down, which is part B, the trough, and then it does a recovery, does a small correction, and then it goes into the bull run. All of them have that part. So this type of technical analysis is not a study of fractals that look similar. It is a study of the functions of fractals. So that is what this type of technical analysis does. It studies what the fractals do. This move up right here, this great fake out, and then where it turns around, comes crashing down, is merely the peak of this fractal. It's part A. We have this peak over here this time around. Notice how every single time it looked unique. That truth is continuing to play out. This one, while it was following it fairly close, does not include this as the peak. Instead, it was this. So let's copy this structure right here and paste it over here. I'll adjust it for today's timing, height, and depth. And then after that, I'd also like to compare this fractal right here, this part of the structure, to what is going on over here. Okay, so here we are on a 1 hour time frame, and this is this structure right here. So I've adjusted it for today's timing, height, and depth, and as you can see, it has been following the structure fairly closely. It gets all the nuances for the most part, although there is some differences, and that is to be expected, as the timing, height, and depth is playing out uniquely this time around as well. But for the most part, it does what it should be doing. Let's zoom in over here. So here we are zoomed in, and as you can see, it has completed this move up right here, this decline. It's done this one, and it is now working on this part right here. Folks, when XRP reaches this point, this is where the bull run starts. Now, notice how the depth of this is deeper than what this fractal suggests. This move up was not as high as the fractal suggests. Expect this type of originality to continue. So the way this part ends up materializing may look a bit different from the way this fractal suggests it will, in the same way that this part over here also is slightly different from what the fractal suggests, but overall it does what it should be doing. So just prepare for that, and it could deviate more than what is shown. But what we do know is that it is following the basic idea of this fractal, and when it gets here, this is where the bull run starts. So folks, once again, we are weeks, and it could be less than that. I don't know timing very well. I'm giving myself some leeway here. Most likely not months away from the bull run. Again, I don't know timing. I'm guessing here. It's speculation, but as you can see, we are very close to the coming bull run structure. Now, this bull run structure is a repetitive structure. I have on my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/thecharthistorian, I have a series of videos where I deep dive into the XRP bull run structure. It is made up of repetitive structures. There's parts where it will pull back and consolidate. There's parts where it will move up aggressively. If you are interested in being prepared for what is coming, I highly recommend this series of videos. It's 5 videos. It's a deep dive into the bull run structure, the repetitive bull run structure XRP has. I'll put the link to this in the description of the video. I also have a Discord attached to my Patreon page where we discuss XRP, Casper, and other cryptos. So if it's something that you're interested in, you're welcome to join. It's a $5 a month subscription. So back to the XRP chart, what I'd like to do next is I'd like to compare a couple other fractals. So this here is the run-up to the great fake out. That would be this right here. As you can see, it has, for the most part, been following it up to a certain point, and it is now clearly deviating from this structure. This move down was really much larger than what it should be. I stretched it out to match what is happening, but as you can see, it is still not really doing what the move up to the great fake out would do. So it is my belief that we are no longer following this structure. Now, if perchance it shoots up crazy high, well, I might change my tune. But as of now, there is no signals being given that we are following this structure anymore. And instead, we are following the correction that takes place before going into the bull run. Now, here is that 2017 third fractal that I spoke about. That is this one over here. Here is a zoomed in picture of it. So as you can see, it does have some resemblance. Now, for a while, this was a competitor to the most recent fractal 3, this one over here. And while there are some similarities, this one that is taking place today is a mix maybe of the two, where it has this first part, which is this right here. Then it has this part from the 2017 one. And now we are jumping back to this part of the structure right here, the move up, the correction before going into the bull run. So today's chart is a mix of both, although we can also say that this move right here was this right here as well. And the similarities should be expected. It's doing a structure that has the same basic repetitive functions. It looks different, but those same steps of sequences can lend to similarities between the two structures. So folks, there you have it. You have seen my reasons why I believe we are near the bull run. Now, I don't know how to predict time very well, but it is most likely weeks, if not even shorter than months away from the bull run beginning. Now, be prepared for the timing, height, and depth to play out uniquely. We already see how it's dipping more so than the fractal suggests. It will look different by the time you see this video, but just be prepared for some deviation, but the basic idea of this structure most likely continuing on. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but if you did enjoy this video, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. You know, if you like this type of technical analysis and you're not a subscriber yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow this chart as it continues to develop. We have exciting days ahead of us. We are approaching the part that everyone has been waiting for, and that is the bull run structure. Now, be prepared for those pullbacks. I highly recommend watching that series of videos that I spoke of. That way you can be prepared for what is going to take place in the bull run structure. And more importantly, it'll help you navigate the coming bull run that we are going into. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.